Breaking news, it concerns Mikel Arteta and Arsenal. Sky Sports News understands that Arteta is expected to commit his long-term future to the club soon. The relationship between the manager, sporting director Edu and the Kroenke ownership is so strong that formal talks are not seen as necessary. There has been a flowing conversation and the club are convinced that the team will be an even greater force in the years to come under Arteta's guidance. He's 42 years old. Of course, his current terms are up in 2025. But there has been no rush from his side or the club side in sorting a new deal, with both sides feeling aligned and no pressure to force negotiations. Arteta has said his extension will happen in a natural way, and the focus for him and Edu has been on recalibrating the squad and ensuring a strong start to the season. So, yeah, Sky Sports News understanding that Mikel Arteta is expected to commit his long-term future to Arsenal very soon indeed.
It's really hard to find players that theoretically suit Arsenal because the demands on them are very, very high. And this is particularly the case for central midfielders. And you can't just go ahead and recommend any old player to Arsenal. They have to be so good at so many things to play for Arteta. And particularly, you have to be really good in terms of technical quality, and you have to be just as good off the ball. Like the work rate, the aerial duels, the second balls, like what you would consider to be basics, and maybe that top players might leave behind and let their technical quality sing a little bit louder. Arteta puts such an emphasis on those things. And the great thing about Merino is the way I describe him is he's basically 7 out of 10 at everything. Like just about everything that a midfielder needs to do, 7 out of 10. I don't think he excels in any one particular area, but I cannot find a weak point with him. And that kind of well-rounded player, especially at his height as well, he's not a small man. I think Arteta that's the reason he likes him so much. And he gets to step in here and lessen the load on Declan Rice, maybe a little bit, help out with the fact that Jorginho and Thomas Partey do get a bit injured, and Arsenal do often have to find solutions from within in midfield. They were a body short in there, absolutely, and Merino is a really nice addition.
Let's start with the obvious one. Who's going to win the league this year? Jamie?
Man City.
And Gary?
Arsenal.
OK. You said the same last year.
I did.
What makes you convinced, again, that they can pip City to the top spot?
I mean, my reasoning last year was coming off the back of the treble for City, thinking that might have an impact on them at certain points in the season, the demands, the expectation, maybe the injuries, the games they play, but unbelievable to do what they did. I think they won the last 9 games, didn't they, which is just special. And Arsenal had the most incredible season, so I wasn't a million miles away. They're just getting better.
Points away.
Yeah, they're getting nearer. And I don't know, I feel they'll do it. I feel they'll do it at a certain point. And look, you can never write. He could 100% be right because of what Pep Guardiola does. He wins all the time. But I feel that Arsenal are getting so close and they're so consistent. That this could be the year. Are
you becoming less certain about Manchester City?
No. I mean, they go to Chelsea yesterday. I mean, whatever we talk about Chelsea, it's still Stamford Bridge. They still got big name players. Going away from home, I always think on the first game of the season is difficult no matter where you go. Even if you think of Liverpool going to Ipswich, how tough that first half was. So to go away and win with these, without some of your best players. I mean, John Stones is not playing, Rodri's not playing, Foden
do you think they'll sign players? Do you think they'll sign players? With Alvarez going, obviously they've lost Mahrez and Gundogan.
Listen, they might bring one in. My only thing is not so much City. We know what City are going to do. They're going to get around 90-odd points. Can Arsenal get there again? Maybe they can. Something that's interesting with Arsenal, I read a stat about Arsenal. No team in Premier League history has improved their position or points 5 years in a row. I think Arsenal have done it 4 years in a row. To go again and get even more than what they've got, I think is a tough, not a tough ask.
But is that what it's going to take? To get beyond 90 points?
That. And my point on Arsenal is, where I look at it and where I still think City is, that Arsenal are obviously one of the top teams in the country. But in the last couple of years when they've gone for the league, I think I'm right in saying that they've gone out of the domestic cups quite early and haven't got to like a final or a semi-final in Europe. And I think this group of players are good enough to they should be getting to the semis of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup and attacking all the competitions the way Man City do and Liverpool did in the past under Jurgen Klopp. Because I don't think it's acceptable now for a team this good not to win a trophy this season.
I'm not sure I'm in agreement with that. Do you not see the similarities between the journey that Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool went on, where they felt like they were just getting there and get in there, and eventually they got them. Do you not feel like there's a little bit of that same sort of...
Yeah, but my point being is, though, Liverpool was still attacking. Liverpool won the Champions League before they won the league.
Well, forget the trophy bit. I'm talking about the league.
Yeah,
journey.
I get that, but the point I'm trying to make is City is still going like further in competitions. Arsenal should be doing that, and I think that will take a little bit out of them than maybe what we see in the league.
Could you see, Gary,
For
Arsenal doing something spectacular, like Liverpool did ultimately, getting beyond 90, 95 points even?
Well, so Liverpool, to win the league, Liverpool, in the first 27 games before it stopped for COVID, won 26 and drew 1. That's what it took to stop Man City and Pep Guardiola winning the league. You know, they're the standards.
Arsenal are getting to such a high level now of consistency, defensive stability, the way in which the balance of the team, they look like they've got a great spirit.
Any buts there?
There's
I still
always
think
injuries, always injuries to I suppose, key players, but that's the same for City. Always injuries is the one thing I would say. Last season, they were pretty stable all the way through, as City were as well.
All right, let's move it on.
Kai Havertz went into the game with 4 goals and 4 assists in his last 6 games playing as Arsenal's central striker, but for that game against Villa, he was moved back to attacking midfield, with Gabriel Jesus, without a goal in 2.5 months, selected as the number 9. It was a bold move by Arteta to move from a structure that had won 5 out of the previous 6, the only blip being the 0-0 draw at title rivals Manchester City. Perhaps too bold. Arsenal's attack, one that had scored 19 goals in 6 matches, looked disjointed that day. They wasted chance after chance, spurning a first-half XG of 1.32. Villa went on to win 2-0. It remains the only league game Arsenal have lost in 2024 so far, but it cost them last season's title. While Arteta stuck with that same system for one more game, a 2-0 win over Wolves at Molineux. He then went back to what had worked so well before for the final matches of last season, Jesus on the bench, Havertz up front. It has stayed that way going into this season, and ahead another meeting with Villa this weekend. Arteta will surely not make the same mistake. Many have called for Arsenal to bring in a new striker to boost their title hopes, and in the pursuit of Benjamin Sesko, before he committed his immediate future to RB Leipzig, Arteta was tempted. But the Arsenal manager would do well to remember he has a top forward in his ranks in Havertz if form is anything to go by. Since joining the Gunners, the German has started 14 Premier League matches for Arsenal as a central striker, registering 17 goals and assists combined in those appearances. In fact, out of those 14 games, Havertz has at least 1 goal or 1 assist in all bar that goalless draw at City. Havertz got 1 goal and 1 assist in Arsenal's season opener against Wolves last week, and given his form, the fact he can score and create in a single game should no longer be a surprise. It is a stark contrast to the mood Havertz was in 12 months ago. The forward had to wait until November for his first Arsenal goal from open play. Players need some time to adapt and get to know everybody. The club, the relationships, the system, said Arteta after the Wolves game last weekend. He's gained the confidence and the respect of everybody in the way he handles certain situations and in the way he's performing. Perhaps Arteta testing Havertz in an attacking midfield role held the German back a little. The numbers show Havertz playing as a center forward is a completely different animal. Naturally, the German has more shots per game as an Arsenal striker than he does as an attacking midfielder, but the quality of the chance, accuracy of the shot, and the outcome, back of the net most games, is also miles better. In scoring Arsenal's final goal of last season, then the first one of this season, Havertz is giving the impression he is carrying on his form where he left it at the end of May. The number 9 spot is currently his if he keeps this form up and avoids injury. And the good news for Arteta is Havertz is not the only Arsenal striker in form, with Jesus back to have an improved campaign by the Gunners' boss. When I saw him after talking to him at the end of the season, it was something different. I could sense it, said Arteta of Jesus after the Brazilian scored a wonder goal in the 4-1 crushing of German champions Bayer Leverkusen in pre-season. His energy was different. The way he looks is different. The way he's moving is different, and he really wants it. Now it's a question of finding the consistency and doing it in any context, any situation, any day, every 3 days, 490 minutes, 430 minutes, 470 minutes. But he looks good. With Leandro Trossard a third option to play center forward, and with the possibility of Eddie Nketiah moving on, Arteta looks like he has his set of strikers for the new season. He later told reporters after Arsenal's opening game of the season that he has faith in all three of Havertz, Jesus, and Trossard to guide them over the next 9 months. They are the same strikers as before, with the trust and